putting this video together to discuss a topic that I think most people would be interested in around AI-driven search for products. Now, most people think about e-commerce in our space, the electrical distributor, as probably something that's not as relevant as maybe we would hope it would be. You think about the traditional electrical distributor has 70% or more commercial construction contractors that they're doing business with. And the general understanding is those contractors probably don't want to buy through any kind of website. They want to interact with people, give a list of materials, get a quote, and buy that way. We also live in a world where B2B and B2C are closer together than they ever have been. And a simple idea that people want to buy the same way they do at home when they're at work. This is also a generational item that increasingly is going to be important to younger people as they enter the workforce, that their preferences are around interacting through a device, and a conversational buying experience with a generative AI tool like, let's say, ChatGPT is an emerging preference. So ultimately, there's discussion around the future of agentic commerce. That's a future state that I think we will realize, but there are some subtle steps along the way that I want to make sure everyone's thinking about. And I'm going to highlight one today. So on my screen here, I'm going to walk through a video from my phone that I captured of a real search that I did around first a consumer product, and then we'll do something that's more relevant to the electrical industry. So you'll see here I've opened ChatGPT and I'm asking for a small travel bag for a trip I'm making. Then I want something that's rainproof and then hold the volume about 2 water bottles. I want it to be slinger style across the body and then have some security features to make sure that I don't get taken advantage of by pickpockets. So you can see it's out doing a search with the prompt I gave, looking for product information and recommendations. And in pretty short order, it returns something. So you see here, it gives me kind of a recap of what I asked for. And then there's some product suggestions with pictures, prices, and referring to sites. And I can page through that and also click on those and go take a deeper look if I'd like to. You'll also notice that when I scroll down, there's some more information about why it selected these products to meet my prompt. And if I click on the first one, you can see there's a few sites that I could go punch right out to. Gives me an idea of the lead time, the price, and maybe even some additional information about why it thinks this product is the right one to choose. So we'll move now into something that's more related to the electrical industry. So let's say I'm looking for a 30 amp 240 volt disconnect switch for outdoor use that's non-fusible. We'll see what it comes up with. So I'm speeding this up. In real time, this took about 1 minute and 45 seconds. And just like the other search, it's based on my criteria, what it understands. It's looking for sites that will give it good product data. And it returns basically, again, same kind of walkthrough. Here's what I understood, and here are some options. You notice there's a Square D switch, Eaton, GE, Siemens, Leviton, and another Square D. And if you scroll down, it tells you why each of those were relevant choices. Notice there's citation for sources. So there's Schneider, Eaton, and Home Depot. I'm going to qualify this a little further and say, hey, I'm really looking for more of the HVAC style with a pull-out, and I want something cheap. So it's going to refine the search based on some new criteria that I've given. And notice that it's searching Amazon, Home Depot, and I don't know what that third icon is, but it's looking for more relevant things than my criteria. So here's what it's coming back with, verifying the spec that I gave, and also reinforcing that when I said make it cheap, here's 8 budget options. So you notice there's one from Crescent Electric for $26.88, one from Delta Home, Walmart, World Electric, eBay, Walmart again, supplyhouse.com, and Lowe's. And again, each product, why it recommends it. And Wes has said to us many times that, our industry, you got to think about there's some care here that needs to be taken, that we sell products that could potentially harm someone. So notice there's notes and cautions about the product and some features and things you need to make sure you're focused on. Notice here also that it's offering to check locally for me where I live in Gardendale, Alabama, but instead I'm giving another qualification. I want one of those 3 brands. So it's going to search again for me. And you'll notice that it's also checking Reddit this time. And it's, again, refining the search based on my feedback. And here's its recommendations. And as you page through, you'll see that's the unit I think I want, that Eaton AC disconnect pullout. I'll click on it. Notice it says, hey, from Shipt, you can have it today for $17 delivery charge. So it's $23 plus that $17. Ace Hardware has it. And another online retailer where I could get it, it has a return guarantee. Here's some reviews on the products from Home Depot, Lowe's, and HVAC Direct Plus. And as you can see, this is a very conversational experience, not keyword driven like you might have in a browser like Google. And that's really important to understand here. The past design that we've had around SEO, search engine optimization, has been around Google Ads and trying to rank up in search results. So we appear in the first few lines of results. This world, where we're talking about some new terminology, new acronyms like AIO, GEO, and AEO. AIO is artificial intelligence optimization. GEO is generative engine optimization. And AEO is answer engine optimization. SEO is foundational in all of this, and it doesn't diminish in importance. And in fact, if you have good SEO today, you're going to show up in these results. But there's more features to this that will become more important as more come into this space and start putting in content around these other buckets. So AIO is really just optimizing what your site looks like to AI. And there's some standards around that you need to think about. The generative piece is more the conversational side of this. Your site should contain some examples of questions your customers might ask so that it's positioned to rank up in those generative searches more readily. You also want to be seen as an authority in the space, that if you're a distributor that sells electrical supplies, if someone asks a question about that, it's stated on your site, your history, your geography, where you're located, your stock availability, not just structured data, but the story behind what you're doing. And a tip that I'll give everyone, if you're watching this video, if you go to your favorite AI tool, the one you use, and ask it to build you a prompt on how you could assess your own e-commerce site against these new standards, what suggestions does it have for you to improve? I think you'll gain a few insights that you could implement pretty easily and increase your chances of getting hits in this environment. One of the videos that I recently watched on this topic mentioned something that you could see in your data, your site traffic, that's pretty interesting. That if you get more and more of this AI search hitting your site, two trends that would indicate that's happening. One is your impressions will go up. In other words, you should see the line going up for your impressions or interest in your site, but your clicks will go down because a human navigating your site is hopefully going to click several things to either drive through taxonomy or go through menus to get to the content they need, where some kind of an AI tool will do more of a data grab. So as your site starts to change in these engagements, that might be a trend you can look for. I also think, one of the questions I've heard is, well, do I need to continue to invest in SEO or should I shift to something else? What's this going to cost me? And I think that's a big unknown today. But I also think some of the trends going on right now with, in fact, OpenAI launching their browser Atlas, only available on Mac at the time of making this video. I think that's a good indicator that OpenAI will monetize the AI search piece. And if you want to be ranked up in that environment, there are going to be things you're going to have to do as kind of the table stakes to play. So really the purpose of this video is to raise awareness around AI search. And I think these are first steps in making your site machine ready, no matter where the next step of AI or agentic commerce leads us.